Line up, you fucking nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
The Money Line, we are live, episode 27. I'm here with my guy, Mike Finch, who's on the road for Bellator this week. What's up, my bro?
I'm great, man. If you guys go check out Bellator's story, the whole damn thing is my cell phone, bro. I've been running around these hotels, following all these guys, hanging out with Zabit this week. Like, it's been a good week, man. I'm enjoying myself. Saw Dustin Poirier in the hotel. It's been good, AJ. I've been having fun, man. How about you?
Listen, bro, it's been a good week myself. Been hanging out, enjoying, getting things done, and excited to work here and talk about the fights. Really work. It ain't work, bro. It's lifestyle. It's love, man. I'm pretty excited for this card. I think there's definitely some fun fights in the main event. Tsarukyan versus Gamrot is real contendership. Like, for the future, I really feel like you got special fighters going after it.
I think Tsarukyan, like the Gamrot, the main event fight, those two guys are going to be around for the next decade in the UFC. You know, these guys are definitely, it's their first time in this type of spotlight, but it won't be their last, man. I'm definitely excited for it, yes. And going through the card, there's a lot of fun fights. First fight of the night, I love. I mean, top to bottom, this is a good card, man. All the real MMA fans will enjoy this shit.
Yeah, this is the hardcore's quality card. Like, you know, some people might say, oh, it's lacking the name value, but I'm sick of doing the it's lacking name value, this and that. Some of the best cards you've ever seen are not the most deep. Now, granted, Austin last week, was that one of the craziest fight cards ever? That was like magic. That was a magical fucking moment.
Let's start with congratulating AJ on the club and sub. You killed it with the Holland pick, my brother. Congratulations.
Dude,
that was pretty good call, dude.
That was a sniper, bro. That was like some real on the money
Headshot.
Mystic Mac shit. Dude, I had a feeling, and you know what? I was super glad when it happened. I was like, let's get it. That was real. That was a money move. And then the main event, Kelleher versus Emmett. It was a great fight. The decision, it's like, if it was 1, 2, and 3 for Emmett, it's more understandable. I was really upset that a judge gave round 4 to Emmett. I just didn't see that as possible, man. I rewatched 1 to 3 in depth, and I knew 1 to 3 were up in the air, but I for certain picked 4, 5 all day Kelleher. So if you gave 1, 2, 3 Emmett, I would have said, you know what? It is what it is. The fact that the judge that decided if the winner was going to be Emmett or Kelleher gave the 4th round is just a wrong analysis, in my opinion. So that was my biggest quell there. And you saw I don't know if you watched the post-fight video that I did there. I think you might have.
I don't know if I saw the post-fight video, but now I got to go check it out. AJ, this is why we were telling people, you know, some of you guys were going back and forth with me, Kelleher easy, right? This is exactly what we were saying. This was what Piccolotti was on the show trying to tell you guys. This guy is real. It was a freaking awesome fight between those two. Personally, I got to go back and score that thing, man. That was a solid fist fight between two warriors, man. And Emmett's a dog, and he hits like a truck, and he doesn't go anywhere. And, you know, there was no problem with the wrestling. So, you know, Emmett showed up, and that was a badass fight. And, you know, for those of you guys who tuned in, who are heavy on Kelleher, I think a lot of people learned who Josh Emmett is. We weren't surprised. I was riding on the fence the whole week, which way I was going to go with that one. You know, Josh Emmett's one of the best in the world. He showed you guys last Saturday.
Let's go, man. And I think I got to give props to Calvin Kattar. He's right up there, too. That fight's a 50-50 majority of the time. Do 100%. You think Josh Emmett is in a title fight now? Is that what's next for him?
I would like to see it. Sign me up, dude. I mean, I think he's going to be a fun guy to have at the top there because he's exciting, you know? It's fun fights, definitely, with him. It's not like he talks a bunch of shit or, you know, has a bunch of, you know, wears crazy T-shirts and loves to. No, he's not McGregor. He's not even Paulo Costa. But what he does bring are those blue-collar goods. He's tough. He's durable. He hits hard. He's got the goods, man. So, yeah, I'd like to see him at the top. I don't know if that's what they'll do. I mean, who else are they going to put in for the title shot?
That's the biggest predicament they're in, which, let's say Volkanovski gets through Holloway a 3rd time, then you probably assume that, I don't know if you watched Dana White's interview, Charles Oliveira fights Volkanovski. He said he would be
Let
open
move
to
up.
the crossover, right? Because Islam is supposed to be fighting Dariush now. I like that idea because at 155, it's not really a clear-cut contender. If Volkanovski wants to try it and he beats Holloway, I'm down for that. But then there's this predicament. Let's say Max Holloway wins the fight. I'll be honest with you. Do you not give Volkanovski an immediate fourth fight? It kind of has to happen, right? 2-1. You've won both of the first two, and then you lose the next one. It's like you kind of got to give him his immediate rematch, which is so weird. So then the division's held up. Either way, I think the division is in an interesting spot. Regardless, I think Josh Emmett's very close to a title. I think he actually, at least for me, I'd be more interested in the matchup with him versus Max Holloway. I'd be super intrigued by that fight because you got the powerhouse boxing versus the more pop, volume-based speed move. Like that would be a crazy fight. And the chin of Holloway would ultimately be tested. I love the matchup potential, man. I love it either way.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Look, you could have Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski fight every weekend. I'm buying the pay-per-view. Okay. Those are two of the best fighters in the world. Volkanovski's really proven himself. I've got to say, I haven't been the biggest Volkanovski fan. I kind of, talk about some ways to beat him, but the more I see the guy, the more well-rounded he shows himself to be, the more of a world champion mindset he shows. He is a whole, high-level guy. I do think maybe you give that last fight to Max Holloway. Hopefully they'll put it to bed this time. Let's all cross our fingers. We get a finish or something definitive this time, and then the division can move on, and we could see the likes of Josh Emmett get his title shot. Because you know me, AJ, I don't want to see. I like new blood getting in there and getting that title shot. Emmett earned it the hard way, dude. Went through Shane Burgos. Went through. I mean, go through the whole list. That's a who's who in those divisions, that 145, 155, right in that area. So many of the best fighters of the world reside. Let's see them get those cracks.
Yeah, I'm interested too, man. There's a lot of guys. Movzar is on the way up. Evloev.
That's true.
That's
Bryce
Mitchell. Holy shit. Like, we got a lot of interesting contenders. I'll be honest. I don't know if it's my imagination or if it's fact, but I think there's an influx of talent right now in MMA, especially towards the lower weight classes, that's just emerging quick. Like, I can think of names off the top of my head of guys that I'm viewing as potential future contenders across all weight classes. I mean, you got Jailton Almeida on his way up in light heavyweight / heavyweight. Aspinall's already ranked now, but he's right there. You look down the weight classes. We got guys, man. Shavkat Rakhmonov, who fights on this card. And then you look down, like, there's guys, dude, Gamrot, Tsarukyan, Demiris Magulov, elite talent. Like, really, right now, MMA is, we're flying up, bro. There's savages coming through the woodwork.
Exactly. This is what they always talked about, right? That the kids who start training in martial arts now, they're not going to go over to boxing or whatever. They're going to go to mixed martial arts. The fighters who are out there now, we're going to get the best athletes in MMA. I think you're starting to see that. And AJ, I think the international piece is very key. We're getting a lot of talent from all throughout the world. Dagestan's been an obvious one in the past couple of years, but all throughout the world, we're finally getting a lot of talent now. It's not just centralized in like Brazil and the US, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to see a lot of these prospects, the ones you just named, and then it just keeps going and going. I mean, I just told you guys I was hanging out with Zabit today. I mean, we never even got to see him get a title shot. You know, how freaking sad is that? I'm standing next to Zabit. He's taller than me. I fought at 170. You know, Zabit was a freak. Guys who can jump and spin and do all these different techniques, man. I love seeing that 2022 MMA style. So there are more and more people who have these high-level athletics and high-level skill sets in martial arts. The sport's getting more competitive, AJ. I'll finish with this. If you're going to be a fighter, you don't want to weigh 155 pounds or 145 pounds because those divisions are as deep as it gets.
Yeah, the climb to the top now at those weight classes, I think, is going to be harder than ever. 170, I mean, it's shit. Every weight class is more sad. If you're a big boy, though, 265, heavyweight, 205.
The door is open for you. Come in, 205ers. Exactly. Dude, right.
We need some more of what you just said. The guys that start with martial arts and make it their life, doing it from a young age, that are bigger human beings. Like a Jailton Almeida, I actually think is a serious threat in that weight class because, I mean, Glover Teixeira was just champ. He gave Yuri Prohashka serious problems. At the end of the day, I'm not saying Glover's not a great fighter, but there is an argument that Jailton Almeida in a very short period could be on par, if not superior already. Now imagine 2 years from now. I can't
You got
imagine it, bro. Like, I mean, I can't imagine it, but like, I don't know what it's even going to look like. I think we got monsters on the rise, and MMA right now, best it's ever been. And I've been watching forever, man. At this point, man, I've been watching since, what, 2009, right? As a little kid, the one guy that was into the fight game, and to see it today, like, you match up the talent on the rise, there's some killers, man. Especially lower
Yeah,
weight
I've been a fan since watching live Pride FC fights, buying Affliction pay-per-views. If you guys know what the Affliction organization is, no, not the T-shirt, the MMA organization. Yes, absolutely, it's a whole other level, man. When Glover Teixeira, was in his 20s, he had to like balance it with like a blue collar job. Now people are really doing this full time. Pro athletes are really MMA fighters now. So when you get people who are as athletic as a LeBron James, or go down the list, get people who are as athletic as the individuals in the NFL, the NBA. Now you bring them over to mixed martial arts and have them start when they're kids. We're going to see a whole other level. I think, people like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, once in a lifetime athletes, I think we're going to have a bunch of those in our lifetime in mixed martial arts.
I'm super excited for it, man. Let's go. Fights are on the horizon, bro. Like, this overall, the sport right now is going towards like all-time highs. And we can, talk about the greatness of MMA all day, but we
love it.
fights. We do, bro. I love hyping it up, man. We do have fights that we got to talk about. Good fights.
Let's
This
go.
is fun, man. I'm looking forward to the card. Make sure everybody watching smashes that like button. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. This is the Money Line. And I'm here with Mike Finch, my guy, Bellator Mike, as they call him sometimes in the chat. But we're talking UFC, baby. Let's go. First,
a lot of
fight.
nicknames in the chat, AJ. A lot. Keep going.
In and out, all of them. Vanessa Demopoulos versus Jinh Frey. Ladies going after it here. Mike, I'll let you kick things off. What do you feel in this spot? What's a strong lean here?
I saw your take on Frey, so I won't leak it to the fans, but I did actually watch AJ's best MMA bets and saw your leak on this pick. Look, I see what you're seeing, which is that Frey is going to be able to win the striking battle here. Now, Frey gets by beating these girls due to her physical strength, although some people don't know, she used to be a 105er. She actually moved up in weight, right, and packed on more muscle. She said to the point where she can't even make another weight class now, and so she's all focused in. But she uses that to out wrestle girls. Her striking looked really solid against Yoder, but Yoder did rock her, and Jinh Frey was also getting outstruck by Gloria DePaula. Now, am I saying that Vanessa Demopoulos is going to outstrike her? No. But one of the things she has is out-muscling these girls. That's how she got those takedowns on DePaula to win that third-round submission. I don't think she has that strength advantage against Little Monster. And, we've seen also Frey get, was it armbarred by Kay Hansen? I mean, if she's getting submitted by Kay Hansen, she's running a risk here with Vanessa Demopoulos on the floor. I do think this thing goes onto the floor. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that our girl, Lil Monster, could lose the first round, right? She could be losing this fight. She just recently got her black belt. She's at fight ready with Henry Cejudo. You saw what that did for the wrestling of Wei Li. I mean, as long as she could control some wrestling in this fight, if she could get on top, I think this thing's over with. I think the better jiu-jitsu here by far is on the side of Vanessa Demopoulos. I'm saying no bet for this one, guys. Keep your money in your pocket. Be careful. But I'm going on a limb. I'm going Vanessa Demopoulos. I'm going submission.
Let's go. Vanessa Demopoulos submission from Mike, which is the value side of things too, bro, because the money is there, plus money for Vanessa Demopoulos as opposed to Frey, who's a good size favorite. I see exactly what you're saying with the possibility on the mat. Vanessa Demopoulos definitely has solid jiu-jitsu. If she does get in the top position, I'd be a bit concerned with Frey. I'm still banking on Frey. You're not going to sway me here, Mike, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. This is I'm confident in Frey, though. Like, I really am. Minus 219, Vanessa Demopoulos plus 202. The problem lies in, yes, I can include her as a confident pick for the week, but ultimately the betting value is minimal, right? You're betting on a girl who's a large favorite in a spot that she should be a moderate to small favorite. Really, I think the odds could be a lot closer here, but it's unfortunately how the game goes sometimes. Demopoulos could be the live dog to attack for you, man. And I'd be interested in that sub prop because the value is great. Pure value side of betting for the win by submission. Demopoulos is upwards of plus 600. That's pretty good. That's a lot. Like it could be even plus 800.
She
Frey
just
to
got her
me.
black belt.
So that so you ready? You ready to see her get a submission? I'll say this. I'm thinking we're going distance, and I'm thinking Frey wins the decision. I'm looking at that over 2.5 spot at minus 220. Let's see if we got Frey by decision. I don't like it at all. Frey by decision plus 105. It's just an ugly line. I'm picking the Frey side. That's who I think is going to win the fight. But you're looking at betting. It's a hideous line. There's no value there, and I think you're putting yourself at a little bit of risk for minimal, right? Minimal reward, high risk type thing.
Exactly, man. Yeah, the value is clearly on Vanessa Demopoulos. I don't like that line you just read me there. Lil Monster's even nasty off of her back. I mean, Lil Monster could be losing this fight, guys. She was getting tagged up in her last fight. She was on her back, slapped on an armbar. Like, you're never really out of danger with Vanessa Demopoulos. I think she's got all-time confidence right now. And, it's just it's not a fight where Frey wants to be on the mat at all. There is a pathway for Frey. It's on the feet. And if she doesn't contest it there the whole time, she will have trouble. Just looking back on it, it was a triangle armbar loss to Kay Hansen. That was in 2020. If Kay Hansen can tap her out, I do think Vanessa's in this fight. Be careful betting on Frey.
Be careful betting on Frey. The value side, Demopoulos. The pick for me is Frey. I'm riding with my girl. But Mike, respectable dog attack. I like that you started out with a juicy women's underdog because the ladies going after it. The way to go tends to be get the plus, man. Take that plus money. Let's go, Mike.
Hey, man, we're dog hunting as always. You guys know how it is. I don't care about those odds. I just care about looking at the way these things can play out. So Vanessa Demopoulos, I've met her in the gym at Fight Ready. Super high energy. Hoping I could talk to her after this one. Let's go, Vanessa. Get that W so you'll come on the show. Yeah, we need Vanessa on.
Let's go. Let's jump to the next one. It's Brian Kelleher taking on Mario Bautista. So for me in this fight, I like Kelleher. Stylistically, it's fun to watch him with fan-friendly style, pretty well-rounded game. My concern is Bautista is pretty good with his wrestling, pretty good with his cage grappling. Back at the Apex too, which is another thing I'm noting, which I feel like at the Apex fights tend to go longer. That influence of the crowd not being there, I don't know. I just think it does something, man. I don't think that UFC Austin card, if it was at the UFC Apex, is getting that many finishes. I think the energy is a real factor. This one here, for me, I think Bautista's best game plan is more of like a smothering style attack, wear on Kelleher. Striking wise, I think it's fairly competitive, but I do like Bautista's athleticism maybe more. But Kelleher, I think, has the more powerful hands of the two. So when I look at this one, I'm leaning towards Bautista win by a decision. I like Brian Kelleher, more fan side of things, but ultimately got to go with the guy that I'm feeling for the pick, Bautista. You think the wrestling is going to be a factor here, the cage grappling especially, because Bautista likes to hold those positions, and he does a fairly good job of peppering shots too from there.
Absolutely. And AJ, you brought something up that's important, which is Kelleher is going to be looking for the knockout, and Bautista's very mobile, AJ. He switches stances a lot in that cage. It's pretty hard to find him. If you guys go watch Brian Kelleher's knockouts, it's when guys are right in front of him, right in the pocket. That's not usually where you'll find Bautista. He likes to move side to side. He's all over the cage. I do think that he's going to present quite a problem for Kelleher because Kelleher can't line up that target right to hit it. You gotta, even if you have the bomb, you still gotta deliver it. I don't think the delivery system's gonna be there. I'm with you, man. I got Bautista decision. We're doubling up.
Let's go. I'm glad to hear that because Bautista's a moderate confidence. As far as the line, it's actually not bad. Looking at minus 170 for Bautista, Kelleher upwards of plus 150. The over 2.5 rounds is sneaky good here. Minus 130 over at my bookie. What'd you say?
I think it's going all three, man. I don't see either of these guys finishing each other. Just looking at their past performances and the way they match up, I think this is one of the best stabs for going over 2.5.
It's great value. That's the best line you could really, I think, touch here at minus 130. Go the over 2.5. Bautista by decision, upwards of plus 180. I do think that's the method of victory, as does Mike. But for me, it's not like, yeah, I want to play that one. I don't want to jump on that line. I'm not feeling, I don't know. Sometimes, man, props of decision to me outside of like women's MMA or real specific fights do get worrisome. I like those sub props and those knockout props, like with K Hall last week, bro. You know what I'm saying? Riding high on it. That's the way to go. But I do think Bautista wins the decision and the over is going to hit here. That's what I truly believe it.
Agreed, man. Yeah, if I'm going to pick anything to go over 2.5 in this whole card, I think this is the right fight. And just like you said, if the value matches up with it, then there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think these guys are going to definitely go all three.
Let's go. Let's go. Me and Mike agreeing on this one on Bautista for the win. Next one, JP Buys versus Cody Durden. Durden's one of the more disliked men in the MMA sphere. After that,
why is that, AJ?
Hey, listen, bro. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying if you know. After the fight with Aorti, it wasn't a great look. He fights JP Buys. I feel like one thing about Buys I have to really respect is the submission threat. There's going to be a lot of attempts for subs. Durden on the other side has a good wrestling base. If he's careless with his offensive wrestling, I'm concerned because then I'd be worrisome of potential guillotines or anything with that front headlock position, really. I feel like Cody Durden, though, striking better, wrestling better, jiu-jitsu, I'm favoring it to Buys. For me, I'm leaning the side of Durden, maybe getting the finish, man. I could see him knocking JP out. I really could, man. We've seen JP hurt and put down a few times.
Yep.
Even against Montel last time, he was touched up a bit on some counter strikes as he was trying to engage in the clinch. I feel like here Durden could, I'm going to say he could sleep him. Definitely could be looking at a 3-round fight too. What do you think, Mike? Let's hear it.
Man, I like the matchup. I do think it's a good fight. I'm not personally betting on this one, but you said that Durden's the better wrestler. My man, Buys went to the Freestyle World Championships in 2013. He's excellent at Greco-Roman freestyle wrestling. He is a problem with the wrestling. I do think that credential-wise, there's no comparison. Now, if we dig into mixed martial arts, you're right. I think Durden has a clear striking advantage here. That's what he should be trying to do. Let his hands go. Show us what he's able to do with them. But as far as the way they match up, if Buys can just keep this thing, in the clinch against the fence, get a couple takedowns here, it could be an ugly one. I don't know which way this decision could go, man. I originally wrote down Durden, but the more I look at this fight, man, I could see Buys finding a way to get this thing. It's a tough one for me, AJ. I'm going to say this thing does go all three, and I'm going to say this thing is a close fight. Definitely one I'm staying away from. Just for fun, I'm going to go Buys.
Buys, my guy. He's attacking the other side. I will say this, though. When I'm talking about the wrestling, I am talking about MMA wrestling based stuff.
Yes.
Like, I do think Durden, it works better for him in MMA with Buys. I look at his style and I find more submission offense from him, whereas Durden is going to be more positional control. I feel like.
I think Durden should be dust off the boxing gloves. Cody Durden's got some pro boxing fights,
bro. Yeah.
He needs to let his hands go. He lets his hands go, he could win this fight.
I don't want to say Buys is chinny, but he's hurt. He can be hurt. There's an availability of hurting him with punches for sure. I feel like it, man. I'm going Durden for the W.
Absolutely. If I'm in Durden's corner all day, we're trying to let the hands go. We're trying to catch this guy coming in. You be the boxer. Let him come to you to try to take you down. Move side to side. Light him up all night. If he does that, that would make a lot of sense. But is Durden's fight IQ that high? Is he going to get caught up wrestling? He likes to shoot a lot. He'll start shooting, getting caught in defending submissions. I don't know where this thing goes. It's ugly. I love the matchup. I don't like betting on the matchup.
Fair. I am on the Durden side more, I guess, plus, right? Plus money, plus 100, more value. But it's when I see lines as close as this, it's pretty much pick'ems here. JP minus 120. I don't know about that over 2.5. It's minus 140. I'm thinking this fight might end inside of the distance, man. And I know it's flyweights, but I see somebody getting hurt. I could see Durden with the knockout. I could see Buys locking up a sub. The fight ends inside distance value line, sitting at minus 110, minus 190 at the higher end of things. That's not bad. I think it ends inside distance. I feel like Durden could hurt him. Do you think there's a path for Bays? Like, let's say you go Bays for the win. You feeling like it might be Bays by sub here, or you think it would be more of a grinding style decision?
I'm going for the latter, but yeah, of course, yeah, Bays could definitely lock something up. I respect Durden's grappling. I think he's a little more seasoned with the blending mixed martial arts in together with the wrestling and with the striking, with the submission. So I like Durden's MMA style. I think he can survive this fight, but absolutely, man, they're well matched. When you get a well matched fight like this, you got to give credit to the UFC. Here I am working for Bellator. I'm in my hotel room here for Bellator 282, going to Mohegan Sun tomorrow. But look, I like the UFC's matchmaking. I gotta credit them again. This is a great matchup, and there's no way I'm risking my Benjamin Franklins on this fight, AJ. I have no idea. I'm gonna go with the decision.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of ways this thing could play out. I do think, again, if Durden wins, he's letting his hands go. He's finding the chin. He's getting that TKO. If Bays wins, yes, you would expect him to grab a choke.
Let's go, my guy. Now, we do have a very special guest. I think we might be the first show maybe ever to bring an odds maker in. My bookies MMA odds maker is about to join us, Raphael Esparza.
All lies on me.
Mr. Esparza, how are you, my man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. We're having a great show, and we're looking forward to getting some true insight from you, man. I'm looking forward to hearing more about your story and also just overall my bookies betting side of the odds makers, man. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was listening to you guys earlier, listened to a bunch of some of your shows today just to get familiarized with you guys and stuff. So it was very intriguing. I mean, I do so many media hits, not just for MMA, but I do all. I mean, like I said, I'm one of the head odds makers over there. So I've been doing a lot of media hits today because I did some gas price odds for Labor Day, and I did NBA draft odds. I got some celebrity odds coming up. I did Jake Paul fight against Tommy Fury odds today, so I have to keep my eyes on a lot of things. People just think, oh, just because I'm one of the main guys that does the MMA odds, but I'm also one of the main guys that does all the other stuff.
Well, in our promo, Raphael, I saw you spinning a basketball. I was like, oh, this guy's doing odds for all the sports out here, huh? So this is good to know, man. You're a jack of all trades. You're keeping your eyes open out here, Raphael.
Yeah, I mean, I got the NBA draft on one TV, horses on one, and I got don't forget CFL's going on tonight. We got the Rough Riders of Saskatchewan versus Montreal in CFL football. So it's.
There you go. Hey, we keep it here for Moneyline, Raphael. I'm not sending them to go watch some football. I can't help myself. I just love mixed martial arts, Raphael. I just live and breathe this sport. I turn on basketball and they start scoring a ton of points and it just starts getting a little meaningless for me. I need somebody to get kneed in the face to kind of zone back in, Raphael. Is your favorite sport mixed martial arts? Be honest with us.
It was going to many moons ago, but I'm on I don't want to say I'm on the other end of that, but I remember when it was the glory days of MMA, of UFC, when they had names. I mean, there's UFC that have, I don't want to say mediocre names. I'm talking UFC when they had names there, like Chuck Liddell when he was boundary with Shamrock, we had Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey. I mean, names. I mean, the only one we've had two names right now have not fought. I'm sorry, Conor McGregor, still one of the main names on the UFC. He can call any TV network and say, hey, you know what? I'm fighting on Cage Sides or PFL on Friday night. And I can guarantee you that'd be the number one watch event at PFL fighting compared to baseball, whatever, if it was a boxing match. And John Jones can't stay out of the limelight of other stuff. So until UFC gets back into those limelights, I'm talking mainstream media, I'm sorry. I'm almost saying that boxing's almost keep going back up there, going head to head with them.
Holy smokes. It's a hot take, brother. Hot take.
No, I know. I agree. I mean, I'll watch MMA fights besides PFL. I threw PFL to the side. When they, a couple of months ago, when they told the public that all their fights were live and it was tape delay and we got crushed because people were betting that, I'm sorry if PFL fans are watching this or the present PFL. I'm very upset with you, and it's going to be a very, very long time for me to waste my time to watch PFL for lying to me and to the public, saying that those fights were live and they weren't.
That is sketchy, though. I do remember that controversy. Now, I guess I want to ask you more. And how did you get into becoming an odds maker? What brought you into the space? And like what how does that even start? I guess I'm curious of the backstory, really.
Boy, I probably start way back when I was in high school and I couldn't play ball anymore, and I wanted to be around sports. And born in the Chicagoland area, there's either playing or booking. so I couldn't play anymore. So what side of the toll you think I went on? So it was back then. But then moved to Vegas, doing retail. Got tired of knew all the guys over at Caesar's Palace because that's where I would lay my action at, or lay off some of my action or whatever. And they recruited me, and I was just going to be a ticket writer. 1997, I was just going to be a ticket writer, punch tickets, and that was it. My first day I got hired there, they cleaned house. So I go back there, brand new uniform, and say, hey, we have a lot of job openings right now. Do you want to write tickets, or do you want to be the guy that puts all the stuff in the computer and display it on the boards? And you get to watch TV all day long. Sold. I'll watch TV all day long and put all that. So I was a guy that put anytime someone put a money line bet on or a bet on, I was the guy that made sure it was on the boards, made sure it was on the sheets, made sure the parlay cards were correct. So I learned from a lot on how Vegas books action compared to a guy that's just on the street at a bar booking action. So I learned from there. So I worked at Caesars for a couple of years, and the whole management crew moved to MGM Grant, and they actually invited me. I was very honored because some of these guys that moved over there are guys that work for VSiN right now or work for Circa right now, and so stuff like so. They asked me to come on board, so I was an odds maker there. I was the first guy to put odds out for WNBA, first guy to put odds out for arena football. So I was doing all those fringe stuff. We had odds for UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I attended a lot of those. I think that's where I learned my love was UFC 7 was probably how I got excited for the way that combat sports was going on, stuff like that was UFC 7. But so I worked from MGM, and then I opened up City Center up in Vegas. And then finally I got tired of corporate. I saw where the sports betting world in the U.S. was going, where you could only find a couple lines. Before, when I got in, every casino did their own numbers. Now, even here in the States, there's only pretty much 4 or 5. You got DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesar's Palace. I mean, there's only really 4 or 5. Back then when I started, there was anywhere between 20 to 30. So I was tired of corporate America ruining the love of sports gambling. So I left corporate, and now I do consulting work for MyBookie, other sports books and stuff like that. So that was now I get paid at home to sit around and think of crazy prop bets and watch horrible TV on a daily basis.
This guy's living the dream, AJ. Did you hear him just lay that out? Holy shit. All right, I gotta pick up on the UFC 1 and 2 thing. So you were watching back in the 90s, brother. I mean, you've been a fan since the very, very beginning. That's very cool. I was buying those VHS tapes from Family Video and Blockbuster and shit, but we're talking way back, my man. So okay, and then you were doing odds since then. You started doing odds in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I've been friends when I was in Vegas doing them, and I used to go to. I get free tickets because, of course, I work for MGM, so I would always have ringside tickets and stuff. And so I meet the fighters, especially when I worked for New York Casino, where we had back in the day. I'll age myself, ESPN Zone. So that's where I would do all my TV medias and interviews after events. I would go because I had an office back there and did a lot of TV stuff for ESPN back there. So I got to know Frank Mir really well, Brock Lesnar really well, Chuck Liddell really well. I used to hang out with them after events and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been with these guys for a very, very long time, and they were probably more awe with me being a guy that did the odds and stuff like that than I was more awe of them because I just saw them either win or lose. I remember when Brock Lesnar, I think it was UFC 100, when he beat the crap out of Frank Mir. Frank Mir looked like the ground beef I was going to make for tacos the next day. And I remember telling Frank Mir after the fight, I'm like, man, your face doesn't look good. He's like, it doesn't feel good either.
Holy shit, AJ, he's an OG then. I did not understand. I respect that.
Dude, no, that's interesting. So when you're sitting down and you're creating a line for the fights, we'll use examples. Even this weekend's card, we can use the main event of the evening, Mateusz Gamrot and Arman Tsarukyan. So really, what comes into play when you guys are lining these odds up? I mean, Gamrot, pretty sizable underdog, plus 247 range. My bookie right now, plus 240. Tsarukyan, minus 300. How do you pick that line? You know, is it a lot of film study? Is it what you have shown me lately? Is it more than that?
It's a little more of that in general, but it's what the betting public would tell you. You can put a number out, and it can be the most correct number in the world. But who's the betting public going to bet on? It's going to move that number. Perfect example, Tesla opened up at minus 230. I think we opened up minus 235. There's some shops that have them at minus $3. And that shop that opened them up at minus $3 actually opened them up at minus 260. So that tells me that they knew that money was going to come in from their customers right away. So why am I going to open it up like 230, 235 like everyone else, when I know our customers are going to jump on him? So let's creep it up a little bit higher like everyone else and get that money, so then we can lay off underdog action pretty much the rest of the week or weekend. I mean, 12 o'clock or no, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The main event will probably go around. So you have all day, all weekend to get some of that money. So it's not also, I mean, people think, oh, how much stats do you look at, or grappling or defense and stuff like that? I look at all that, but at the same thing, at the end of the day, money is going to balance my my book. I could care less if a guy comes in 20-0 and he's fighting a guy that's 2-18. If their betting public is betting the guy from 2-18, you know what, I'm moving it? The guy that's 2-18, not the guy that's 20-0.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So the opening lines you set based upon the stat, but obviously the rest is going to be based upon where the money is being laid down. So that's why obviously when you see the line shifting, heavy money comes in. And
now, of course, injuries can also like wait. I mean, let me rephrase that. Injuries, and then the day of a weigh-in. I mean, we all three of us can know if someone looked like they had a horrible weigh-in, then you better move that number right away, because the betting public's going to jump all over that. I don't care if they say, oh, he looked bad in a weigh-in, but he'll rebound afterwards. I'm sorry. You can tell when someone had a very, very bad time cutting weight. I don't care how much they do afterwards. It's going to take its toll off in the octagon or boxing or whatever combat sport we're talking about.
Well, that's part of the reason why I don't do any Bellator stuff. You know, AJ puts out these Bellator lines. I'm here. I'm watching these guys cut weight in the hotel. I know too much. I need to stop. You know, I can't be out here leaking. You know, who's got easy weight cuts and who's got bad weight cuts. That does play a factor. Can you tell me, Raphael, do algorithms play any role in this? I mean, how much are you using your computer to help you reach that initial mark for the odds?
It doesn't. I mean, it's funny. I had an interview today. Was it today or yesterday? From a professor from California. I forgot what school off the top of my head. And he was asking me about, oh, what kind of computer do you have, or how many algorithms and all that. I'm like, you know what? I've been doing this so much. I can just look at two guys or look at two teams, and I already know what my ballpark number is. Then I'll research, you know, all the other stuff, you know, head-to-head matchups, recent, what they've done in the past, weight cut, all that. And then I'll put it in, make my notes, and adjust it from what my number looks like and all that. So there's no computer behind me and stuff like that spits out the number that I'm looking at and stuff. And then, you know what? I know pretty much every odds maker, and I would say pretty much almost in the world now these days, now that I do it so much. And I've been into doing this for over 20 plus years. I'll pick up the phone. If I'm second guessing my number, I'll pick up the phone. I had a perfect conversation today. I was doing a whole bunch of New York Mets prop bets on how many home run or Yankee prop bets, how many home runs would Judge have, how many times would the New York Mets get hit by pitchers, because they're leading the league being hit by pitchers this year. So I called a couple odds makers, one at William or one at Caesars and one at FanDuel, and we were just discussing and stuff like that. Okay, what do you think your number should be? So I mean, I always, if I have a second guess, I don't want to put a bad number. I'll call someone and pick their brain.
Could I put a direct example on that? So, for instance, this Cowboy and Joe Lozon fight that's just never going to happen. I guess we're never going to get it, Raphael. I don't know if it's going to go down. But, you know, AJ and I were talking about how we thought the odds were a little off on that one because of some of the adversity Cowboys had to deal with. So, for instance, you get word that Joe Lozon is cramping, okay? How far do you move the line? How do you even begin to think about how far or how much something like that would affect a fight?
I got the phone call and they say, hey, Joe Lozon's having problems. I think it's from his weight cuts and stuff like that. I think the original report we got was cramping or something. We didn't hear about his leg. We just said it was we thought it was maybe stomach issues and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? These two guys, first of all, shouldn't be fighting. So I didn't adjust it. I took the fight off. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking it off the board. A, these two guys shouldn't be fighting. B, I couldn't believe the number that the betting public moved us to. So I'm like, hey, I can't believe we're taking this much money on two guys that should be making my pizza on Saturday night, not fighting in the octagon. But yeah, I mean, I took it strictly right off the board because I knew this fight's never going to happen. Cowboy Cerrone, was he fighting on UFC 276 card now? I saw that. I forgot that I have to do that number tonight. Thanks for reminding me about that fight. I got to do Cowboy Cerrone.
He's fighting Jim Miller. Yeah, Jim Miller's in.
Fighting Jim Miller. So I got to do that number when I get off from you guys. But thanks for reminding me that for that one, that fight's not going to happen. It's doomed. That fight I should do a head-to-head matchup. What fight would happen next? McGregor, DS3, or Lazone and Downhill? What fight would happen first?
I would say McGregor.
Well, I would too, but now
minus 200.
I heard he's fighting Mayweather in December.
Really?
Oh, stop.
Yeah, no, up in the UAE. I'm hearing 8 rounds. December 9th, 8th. They're talking right now.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's
and
some good
Dana White's on board, which I used to talk to Dana White a lot, and now that's another story.
Now, let me ask you this. So I guess the truth is the OVs at the end, the OVs, Rakhmonov, Morozov, Magomedov, Nurmagomedov, whenever there's a line of anyone from that region of the world, I'll be honest, I personally feel like it gets swelled fast and it'll even open a bit wide. Yes. I guess, is it just a universal connection between all the bookies that when these Dagestanis or any bit of that region is fighting, they're usually going to win, and you don't want to make it easy for people to be capitalizing on big bets there.
Yeah, I mean, what Bellator 282? There's the DOV fighting in there, and the line is only minus 180. I saw that. I'm like, that line should be $3 because I can guarantee you the betting public is going to put it on parlays and straight bets and all that. But yeah, that's my number one rule. If a DOV is on a fight card, no matter if it's PFL, Bellator, UFC, you're going to get crushed with parlays and straight bets. And it's going to be, that fight will probably have one of the most tickets written on it. It's probably one of our biggest headaches for UFC and all that, because those guys just get so much and respected. They should, because all they've been doing is just dominating. So heads off to them, because they've been killing us.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's wild. I had to ask about the OVs, man, because
that's what I call them. That's the DOVs.
Hey, they came in and shook up the sport, Raphael. All right,
got that right.
Let me see if I can ask you a harder question. You know, when you're making these odds, have you ever had to drastically reassess? Have you ever got it wrong, Raphael?
It's not just today. It's almost every. I mean, there's always events where you're like, "What was I thinking?" I mean, and there's days where if I'm watching a fight, boxing, UFC, Bellator, college basketball, and all that, and I was just totally wrong. I'm either rewatching that or going through my notes or stuff like that. I mean, some days it is what it is, but there's some days I'm totally was just totally off, and that's what's gambling. I mean, if you putting at the window and you're like, oh, I can't believe I bet this guy when he lost in 13 seconds, or I mean, how many people had aspirin and you get kneed in the face in the blink of an eye? So it goes both ways from an odds maker and to a bettor.
That makes sense to me. All right, so I feel like this is the first time I've ever had a conversation with the house. I got the house here, and I got our betting fans on the other side. So let me see if you can extend us an olive branch. What would be maybe the number one thing people don't understand, or maybe a better way to ask it would be, what would be the most helpful piece of maybe advice or just information you could give the average betting fan who doesn't really understand lines, who doesn't really understand parlays in the betting game? How can somebody be a smarter bettor?
Do not parlay, period. I mean, I used to see this all the time when I was in Vegas and all that. Guys would take UFC and boxing numbers. They would bet 10,000, 100,000, and it'll take every minus $5, minus $4, minus $3. And they may hit a couple on the weekends, but as soon as you lose one, it takes like 6, 7, 8 of those to get that money you lost, because you're betting so much and only getting so much, a little bit of it back. So I know UFC is probably it's creeping up to as one of the second biggest parlay sport when it comes to of course football would be creme of the creme. And maybe soccer if you're looking at worldwide. But the UFC is just probably one of the biggest parlayed. It's all you see on Saturdays. That's why on most of these on Saturdays when we're watching UFC, I'm praying for at least 2 to 3 dogs to come in. I don't care what dogs they are. I could care less what they are. I'm just praying a couple of dogs bite because everyone's going to take all the -$2. They would that. Was it Romanov? Oh no, Nurmagomedov, who's -9,000 or -900 or -1,000. Every parlay will have him on there. So all I'm just rooting for is one of those dogs to come in, and we'll have a good event. So even though everyone does it, I would say keep an eye out for parlays. If you're gonna do it, maybe just do 2 teams. Why risk 3, 4, 5, 6 of them? Even you could be the smartest MMA guy, but hey, you know what? One punch is gonna knock anyone out. One kick, one bad move, and you get tapped out. It doesn't matter what your record is. It can happen. Don't be greedy when it comes 4, 5, 6. Play smart. If you like 2 fighters, if you like 2 fights on Saturday, can't wait to watch these 2. Then just do those 2. Why add? Well, I'm going to add this -900, increase my betting value. It's not increasing it much. It may give you an extra $2.
Which is not even worth it at that point. That just for a slight little push. I guess the next segue I want to get into is, I guess, what is your, maybe if you can give it to us, favorite pick throughout this whole UFC Vegas 57 card, or favorite prop, something that you see and you're like, yeah, I like that a lot?
I haven't dove into the prop bets yet on this weekend yet. I put them out, and I normally don't dive into the prop bets till like really late mid-afternoon on Saturday. If I see a line movement, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it moved 20, 30, 40, 50 cents. Because if the betting public was correct, then why are the lights on in Vegas 365 days a year? So I usually will fade the public on that one. Wow, that's a hard one. I do like the main event. I kind of like it under the 4.5.
Interesting.
Getting even money or plus 105. I thought that was I could see a tap out or a submission, like in the 3rd round, something like that. I thought getting plus money. I looked a little kind of fishy. I'll probably dive into that one a little bit more. Yeah. But the main event, I thought the plus money and the under 4.5.
Okay. Yeah, plus money, the little dog action.
And it's late. I'll be in Central Time Zone, so I think I probably want to try to get some sleep and all that. So I'll be hoping for an early fight because I'm gonna be tired.
That's funny.
He's got to go to bed, AJ. Hey, we got a couple of funny and interesting comments I wanted to go up. AJ, you might have to scroll up a little bit. But, one of our guys did bet on Ben Askren. I'm sorry about that. Sorry that we brought
a lot of people. I liked him in that fight too. So I'm with you. I know. If I did nothing big, but I think I used that for. I think I rolled something into that piece of paper I had that night.
And then I got Wild Hogs here. Hope the fight doesn't go to a decision. Laugh out loud. That's probably an interesting topic to talk about, right? I mean, sometimes you get burned by the judges. Can you even factor that in, Raphael? So, for instance, if it's the hometown guy. Remember when Michael Bisping fought Anderson Silva in the UK, and it was a close fight, but they gave it to Bisping. A lot of people said, well, if that was in Brazil or the US, Anderson would have won. Do you even factor that in?
I do. I think it's kind of funny because at first, I don't lie, I was a boxing guy first. I probably still am, just because I used to go to all the Oscar De La Hoya fights, Julio Cesar Chavez, senior, not junior. I go to all the Mayweather fights. I used to tell people when Oscar De La Hoya fought, I felt Jesus would come out because the poppy he would get when he would fight on Cinco de Mayo in Vegas was just crazy. I've been to many Canelo Alvarez fights. So boxing for an atmosphere fight, I would always choose that first. But it's almost funny how people, UFC, I hate boxing because their refs are always fixed. Well, it's almost getting tied to the wrong way now because I see a lot of bad calls in UFC, ladies. So if you're looking for an over-under and putting your money down, you have to look at that. You have to look at, the judges on it. That's why if I'm going to fit a prop bet, I'm going to do KO or TKO because I don't want the judges to mess up my my decision bet. I don't understand why people bet a lot of money on, I think so and so is going to win by decision. You know what? I ain't going to risk my hard-earned money or the casino money on stuff like that, and when a judge can see it totally different. So for a better wise, I think you have to look at that, especially if you're looking for someone to win by decision. That has to be in the back of your mind, especially if you're laying a minus price. If you're laying minus $2 and maybe that fighter got screwed a couple of times already by the decision, or he's fighting on someone else's turf, you have to put that in mind, especially if you're laying in a minus price.
Yeah. I guess then the next question is, what are the odds that we get an odds boost for one of these props? I'm going to throw at you right now.
I probably won't do any odds boost on this one. I think we're putting out what I understood from one of the many meetings I've had this week. We're rolling all our dice on UFC 276.
Okay.
Promos, and I've been talking to a lot of fighters that have been doing a lot of stuff on social media, which I know you guys both follow MMA, my bookie, so you see a lot of fighters do stuff. So there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff on there. So I think I know they're probably just putting them opening up the safe on UFC 276, and it's 4th of July weekend. So
that's going to be a fantastic card. And I mean, hey, 276. Maybe we'll be in touch for a Moneyline odds boost from the people out here, man. Me and Mike will come up with a little something if you guys are down for it. That'd be pretty sweet.
I'm just hoping my girl wins. I'm a big fan of Jessica Rose Clark. She opens up the card. I do believe she opens up the card. I don't have it in front of me, but she got a tough loss her last fight. So hoping she rebounds. I'm almost positive she opens up UFC 2. So I'm just hoping it's not 100 degrees when I'm walking there because I don't like to go in the arena. It's already sweating.
Facts. You're out there in Vegas, man. Nothing you can do about that. You guys got the dry heat in Vegas, though. See, I'm from Illinois. When it's 90 degrees in Chicago, you're wearing it. You know what I mean?
Born and raised in that area. I know what it is.
I see Wrigley Field behind you. I see you.
That's how many miles it takes to get to Wrigley from my house.
That's funny.
That's epic, brother. Okay, so you'll be in Vegas for the big show then. Good to know. Yeah, I am also a Jessica Rose Clark fan, and I must give a shout out to Billy Barnes, our producer. He was just over there at CSA. He was filming with Piccolotti and some of her teammates. So yeah, all good vibes for Jessica Rose Clark, one of the nicest humans in the world. And I expect my bookie does something with her. No, so one of the other books does. I want to say Bet Online. I'm not 100%. I know. I wish she was with us because that'd be fantastic. But you know what? I mean, if she works for another company, I support all other companies in the sports betting and sports gambling world. Just because you may put on someone else's colors or someone else's name. I have no bad blood for any other casino or sports book. So hats off to her if she's getting paid over there.
Nice.
Me and AJ are happy to be with my bookie. We are very happy to be working with you guys, man. It's definitely been fun. We always want to tell our viewers, guys, you'll get that 50% bonus. Go ahead and sign up on my bookie. Use that promo code Moneyline, and you guys can have some fun betting. AJ, if you don't have anything else, I'll ask him to leave us with help our fans out here. You know, what would the house be able to tell bettors to get them to wise up? You said no parlays, right? That's a big one. So no parlays, bet them. And then what tends to hit more? Is it people betting over under decision? Is it people betting knockout submissions? Is it just money lines that hit more often?
Money lines will always be creme of the creme. It will always get the most action. But I would say tickets written, prop betting is just blowing up in every sport, not just MMA, but in every sport, prop betting. So I would say, I always tell people, if you're going to bet a prop bet, then maybe don't bet so much on the money line. Why sweat? Because there's sometimes I like the other side that I think who's going to win a decision or tap out. It could be the underdog, but I'm like, hey, maybe he can switch it around and get a quick submission by out. But I like the favorite, so I would say don't mix match your money line bets and your prop bets. In all sports, if you're going to bet, I usually tell people, if you're going to bet Tom Brady to pass 2 touchdowns in a game, but you're betting the Saints to beat Tampa Bay, then why bet that prop bet? It just doesn't make sense. So I would always say, make sure you're an eye and eye when it comes to your money line bets and prop bets.
That's good advice.
Appreciate that, man. The odds maker advice himself right here, Mr. Esparza. It was nice to meet you, man. I do want to give you the opportunity now to give yourself a shout. I know we want to give a shout to mybookie_MMA on Instagram. I know you guys are building your thing there. And I think you guys already passed, 26,000 followers last time I checked. You might be 27,000 now. You guys are moving quick over there.
Yeah, we got 27, but the main site, they get the main site, they got like 75,000. When I'm on sometimes on conference calls with them, I'm like, hey, I'm also doing odds. I can't just full time do social media. It's funny how they'll make fun of me, but I'm like, hey, I'm the one that's giving you ammunition on the main site for all these prop bets I'm doing for others. So leave me alone. But no, I want to say thanks to you guys. Like I said, ever since we hooked up on social media, I've been watching some of your stuff. You guys do great work, and I think I've seen you in some Bellator events. When I saw your picture, I'm like, hey, he looks kind of familiar, because I tried to go to as much events as possible. COVID kind of did a setback on me traveling and going to events, but it should be fun. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff to do this weekend when it comes to combat sports. Like I said, you have UFC. ESPN 38, you have PFL 5 on Friday, so something it's always a fun time. And then next week you are UFC 276, so that's gonna be fun. And then great boxing card coming up. I know you guys, Spencer Crawford, Triple G, Canelo, and stuff like that. So some great fights as well.
Yeah, some amazing martial arts / just combat sports as a whole in this whole summertime. We got a great schedule, and it's back to back weeks for us here at Moneyline doing the breakdowns. Well, thank you, Mr. Esparza, for being here. I appreciate you, man. It was nice to meet you as well. And
anytime, guys.
Tickets.
Anytime. It's a perfect time slot for me. So, like I said, anytime you guys need me to jump on talk prop betting or big cards and stuff like that, I'm always available. You guys know how to reach me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my man.
Yes, we do. We might take you up on that, Mr. Esparza. Thank you for your time. All the best, and we hope to see you back.
Take it easy, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Esparza. Have a great one.
All eyes on me.
Ooh. What happened here, man? The Finch man had a double shot, bro.
Cameras on. Dude, we just talked to the house.
Yeah, we just talked to the house, man. I was interested to hear what they were saying. It was interesting. And I'm on the wrong side too, but that was an interesting little question ask. I like that you were asking some things. I was just intrigued by some of the things he says. Very interesting, very fun, very, very enjoyable to hear the other side. That's the side we don't see as much as the actual house side.
Yeah, I like being able to put a face and a name to it. That was interesting. And it's also interesting, he said no algorithms, no process. He's doing it old school, it seems like 90s style to me, which I respect that. He has to watch all the fights and dig into them deep like we do, AJ, do the real work. So very interesting to hear. And to be honest, it just gives the mystique of where the odds come from and beating Vegas. It kind of pulls that mystique away. It's just guys throwing numbers out there, So you guys, don't fall into the spell of what the odds are. I always, for myself anyway, make the fight pick first, then I look at the odds. I think when people look at the odds first, they tend to get influenced too much when they think about a fight. Just go ahead and look at the fight for what it is, because I'll tell you what, the fighters are not thinking about the odds when they're in that cage.
Absolutely, man. Interesting time, interesting conversation to talk to the bookie. That was funny, man. That was fun, man. He was a nice guy as well, man. And I liked getting a little spice in, man. We bring the most interesting guests possible. If it ain't the fighters, it's the people behind the scenes. We bring the heat here at Moneyline. Let's go.
It was different. Hey, I'll have him back on when I need to know some shit. When I'm pissed off about some lines, get him back on.
I want that odds boost, bro. I wanted to get an odds boost.
I saw you shooting for it. I did see that.
I was like, yo, give me plus 600 bays by submission, because that was your pick, and I thought that'd be a good little potential prop to come through on, man. But they're like, I knew they didn't want it.
We're gonna knock on that door again. It's
yeah,
not over.
We're gonna have to.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Guys, I hope you're enjoying the action. Make sure to smash that like button. We're going to get back to the prediction side of things, and we have a really good one up next. It's Raulian Paiva versus Sergey Morozov. Good little bantamweight matchup here. Mike, what is the Finch breakdown on this fight? Where are you leaning here?
I like it. First off, Morozov looks down the gun really well. That he doesn't train under Mike Winkeljohn, but this is Mike Winkeljohn's verbiage here: looking down the gun, keeping your hands out in front of you, looking down. It's like a scope on a rifle, right? You're trying to put the target on the person, and he's holding his hands out in that way. It makes it really hard to get any offense going on him. He kind of fights a row back from people, so it's pretty hard to get to him. If he steps on the gas pedal, I do think he can knock Paiva out, but I don't think he will, man. Remember, Kyler Phillips blasted Paiva at the end of that first round. Paiva was able to make it out of that and survive. Paiva actually does have really good recovery when he does get hurt. If Paiva can survive that, Morozov more of a distance guy, I'm thinking this thing goes all three. Another one in which I'm pretty hard leaning on that decision, man. I do think these guys are going to go all 3 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and take Morozov. I think he's going to win this fight by keeping it at his range where he wants the fight, and that'll be the key to him getting this on the scorecards.
Let's go. I actually am leaning the way of Morozov by KO. I do think the chin being cracked for Paiva a bit could be a factor, maybe a little deterioration of it, right? He's been knocked down multiple times across recent fights. Bad knockout. Hard to finish. Sean O'Malley pulled it off. Morozov, I'm not saying he's the sugar show on the feet, but I do think he could hurt Paiva, man. He's a lot more of a tight striker, whereas Paiva gets a little more wide, loopier style of boxing and stand-up overall. I don't know. I liked Paiva at 25. I suggest he'll run into problems more. And I'm banking on Morozov to win. I could see him knocking Paiva out. I'm with you on Morozov. I know you're on the decision side, but the money line is where the action really should lie. Right now, minus 145 for Morozov, Paiva plus 115. It's not too bad. Minus 145?
Yeah, and I'm looking at these fights here. He fought Kai Kara-France. Now, obviously, you just said it, weight class down. Got to know that. But went to a split decision with Kai Kara-France. The Bontarine fight was stopped because of that cut, obviously. So really, the only guy to get him out of there is Sugar Sean O'Malley. Before that, he was on a ridiculous win streak. So just looking at the history with Paiva here, man, he is a durable guy. I do think he's going to take those shots. I like that point. I was actually sleeping on the fact that he's up a weight class. That is right. That does matter. Higher up you go, the more smack you get with those shots, man. That's a factor, AJ. I like that.
I know it's a give and take though, right? Because yes, they hit harder, but you're not as deteriorated from the weight cut, but still they hit harder.
True. Solid point. Yeah, Paiva's really big, down at 25. So yeah, I definitely think that he's still going to be durable at 35, but the hammer hitting him is just a little heavier. So it's an interesting point. I'll have to ponder, AJ. But yes, watching some Paiva fights back again. I was giving you that example, him getting dropped in the first round. His recovery is actually really solid. Like everybody used to say back in the day, right? Fedor Emelianenko's got a great chin. No, he doesn't. Fedor gets cracked, his knees start going everywhere, but he has great recovery. When you're in great shape, you get to recover quickly. Frankie Edgar, I can give you some other examples, right? You can wobble these guys. It is hard to get the referee in between you and the opponent, though.
And you think Paiva, he's got that shape, man. He is in good shape. I gotta respect the damage. Yeah, the damage he took against Phillips was impressive to come back and then win the next 2 rounds.
Win the fight, exactly right.
He wins the fight, yeah.
Phillips
I thought it was a draw. I had
a
a draw, brother.
Is that right?
I thought it was a draw, personally. I think it was a 10-8 obvious first.
Yeah, because there was a 10-8 round, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was 100% 10-8. That was a draw. But at the end of the day, still, valuable performance for Paiva. I think Morozov should win. I like the way he changed his strikes together. Does have okay wrestling as well to mix up. I see him beating Paiva, man. I'm going the Morozov side. I see him hurting him with the hands, though. I'm seeing that chin getting touched up for Paiva. I think he's getting slept, man. As far as the knockout prop, I want to bring it up.
Go ahead.
Morozov by KO, out of curiosity, plus 550. Interesting. Morozov by decision, though, plus 200. That's your side. That's a juicy plus 550, but the money line is not a bad attack here in a fight that I do think is winnable for Sergey Morozov. And even the fight that he lost most recently being Morozov, I mean, he had a great first round and then ultimately, had to succumb to the Savage, the name of which escaped me for a moment, but I'm picturing his face. Yeah, Douglas Silva de Andrade, man. He has that John Lineker build and look, man. Douglas Silva's a monster, and he beat Morozov. Morozov looked good early.
Absolutely, yeah. Morozov is one of those guys where, you know, he can kind of take control of the striking, at least for the majority of the fight, right? So I do think he'll take control of that distance in this fight, and that'll keep him pretty safe. You know, Paiva, not the hardest hitting guy I've ever seen, especially up a weight class.
Yeah, agreed, brother. Let's keep running, and we'll jump to the next one. Shenilian Nuerdanbieke versus TJ Brown. I feel like TJ Brown is superior to Nuerdanbieke in almost every aspect. I think he's got better forward pressure, better wrestling. I think the stand-up's better. I think he's more athletic and quicker. Nuerdanbieke, I don't want to say like nothing jumps out at the page aside from a decent wrestling base, but TJ Brown's got the base there. And a lot of guys at this point, like everyone's a decent wrestler. I don't know why I'm not super impressed when I watch Nuerdanbieke. I see okay level changes. I see a physically strong fighter and a guy that can take damage, but I feel like Brown has the distance management that's better. I think he closes distance a lot faster. I think he could mix in some wrestling. And from the top position, I view TJ Brown as a more dangerous fighter. So I do like TJ Brown, but I'm going to lean it decision, bro.
I'm doubling up with you, AJ, and this is why I think the best strike that TJ Brown can find in this fight is the jab. If you guys watched Kulabau, you know, and Shailan, he was getting popped with that jab over and over again from Kulabau, and actually TJ Brown has an excellent jab, and if you look at the way he stands and the way he delivers, I agree, just more technical with the striking, right? Shailan, once he starts getting popped with the jab, starts getting wild. Bisping on the broadcast even called him sloppy, you know? So if you're getting sloppy out there with TJ Brown, you're taking a big risk. He will risk getting finished, but I'm going to go with you, man. I think that they're both tough. You know, it's like, you know, will TJ Brown's takedown defense be on point enough to stop the shot? I think so. That's why I'm going to go TJ Brown decision. I'll double up with you. Guys, just go money line.
Yeah, this is a money line assault here, but value isn't great. Minus 195 for TJ Brown, plus 160 for Shah. If you look towards an over here, I don't think it's a terrible idea at minus 220, or Brown wins by a decision side, plus 130. But I don't love the decision prop. I like the money line assault. I like the over. I think we're going long. I think we got 3 rounds of work. Both of them I like, really, the over and the money line attack on Brown.
One note is that TJ Brown starts fast. He does. Remember, Kai Kamaka dropped him, but it was good to see that Brown could weather a storm. And, you know, if he gets off to a quick start, he could be looking for a finish. I'm doubling up with AJ. I do think this thing goes all 3, but I'm recommending Moneyline.
Moneyline Mike in the house, baby. We got another nickname for you. Let's go, my guy. I'm glad we're on the same side here, too. Let's
we gotta
jump.
be, man. We gotta keep it real. I did see AJ's breakdown of this one, and yeah, I agree. You were saying that that the wrestling and the striking are going to be better for TJ Brown. Agreed.
Yeah. Let's go. Featured prelim of the night: Carlos Ulberg versus Tafon Nchukwi. I'm not super high on Ulberg. Like, he's a good kickboxer, but sometimes the transition to MMA just isn't perfect, right? The hands are a bit low, can be maybe a bit over patient. Granted, not like he's had these, tons of fights, and we've seen a lot from him. He's 4-1, and the loss is to Nchukwi, who ends up knocking him out in a fight that he was ahead. And then he fights Fabio Charant, and he outpointed him for the 3 rounds. Just not super high on Ulberg. He looks good from distance, but inside, I don't think he'll look great. Nchukwi, his best bet, in my opinion, is the uglier this fight is, the more likely he's going to succeed. I'm expecting clinch work, forward pressure, make this more of a mixed martial arts contest. Yes, in a kickboxing match, Ulberg does have the edge. If you're talking KO power, Nchukwi might be the heavier hitter. He definitely hits damn hard. At one point, I was not feeling Nchukwi's skill set, but I'm seeing improvements, man. Even against Azamat Murzakanov, who's a pretty well-respected prospect, Nchukwi won the first 2 rounds. He gets knocked out in the 3rd. He was ahead. I don't think that Ulberg has that same type of power. Of course, if Nchukwi's overzealous, comes inside, there's the kickboxing ability, the counter strike could definitely land for Ulberg, and it's not impossible he gets that hand raised. But I'm expecting Nchukwi to mix in the wrestling, clinch work, wear on Ulberg against the cage, make it dirty. I'm telling you, I think the clinch is key here, and I'm going to go Nchukwi by decision, Mike.
Oh, shit. I think this whole fight has to do with the footwork. If you look at the way Ulberg moves, it's very light on his feet, right? He has a nice light bounce. He can move side to side, he's a ghost in that cage. You're trying to find him and you can't get to him. As to Nchukwi on the other side, he likes to cut you off. He likes to get in front of you. He wants you to stand right there in front of him so he can light you up with a big looping shot. So their styles clash in that way, AJ. I do think that whoever wins that battle, can Nchukwi cut him off? If so, you got to go with him. Or will Ulberg be able to move side to side, create that mobile target where Nchukwi can never really find him? That's the way you beat this guy, is you don't stand in front of him. That's Ulberg's style. AJ, he's a 6'4", freak athlete. I mean, he moves excellent. I do like him in this fight, but I can see what you're seeing as far as you said, make it ugly. I would just add to that, cut him off. If Nchukwi can cut him off in this fight, he can knock him out. I'm going to stick with Ulberg. I do think the side-to-side movement is a bad enough matchup for Nchukwi where he won't be able to corner him. If he does, it spells trouble. I gave you guys a couple confident picks. I got a couple confident ones in the main card. Another fight, I'm just going to eat popcorn and enjoy.
Enjoy the action here. I will say, live audience, 30-foot octagon, I think this fight has higher potential of stoppage. At the apex, I'm leaning it going more decision side.
Why do you say that?
I think the way, like I'm telling you, man, I really feel like the audience influences the fights, man. I'm starting to see it more and more with Apex events as opposed to live events, man. Like the fighters just have that different energy. I mean, you know, from your experience, could you imagine, right, going into a near empty arena with just, a couple spectators and, you have the judges, or opposed to like a loud facility, like people going crazy, let's go, and you're hearing tons of noise and you're seeing people and like, you just feel like the adrenaline's got to hit different. As opposed Apex / then you jump towards the, stadiums and whatnot. Like even on the Ultimate Fighter, I think guys sometimes maybe are too lax, too comfortable because it's so quiet in there. And then it kind of changes the dynamic of the fight. And I feel like that's kind of what we've been getting with the Apex. It's a fight I'd rather see in person. Like adding a big arena. I'd like to see it on 276. I do think there's higher potential of an Ulberg than winning by KO, because then Nchukwi's going to more come after it and might get swayed into a little bit more of a fight.
I see what you're saying. And I do think a great example would be AJ's favorite fighter ever, right? Khamzat Chimaev was fighting in these empty, damn near empty rooms a couple of times, right? He was going around there during the COVID lockdowns. And so what happens? He gets put in Jacksonville, Florida. They pack the house with you crazy fucking Floridians. You guys are losing your minds. And so does Khamzat. He fights like he's drunk in a bar. He just keeps coming forward. They just keep banging. His coach is screaming at him. It's like, I do think one of the biggest things people overlook is when a fighter has a couple fights at the Apex, then they go into the, T-Mobile Arena and it's sold out. That's when you get the crowd really affecting them. They just were able to hear their corner their past couple fights. Now everybody's screaming. They're like, I'm going to go for this TKO. You're right in that sense, is that, the person who is going to be influenced by the noise is definitely going to be the person who's had the contrast of the two, right? Who went from the Apex into the big arena. Just one more tidbit I wanted to throw on there, because I do think the smaller cage makes it so that Ulberg might have a higher likelihood of being cut off. I'm saying that if it's in the big cage, I like Ulberg even better because he has more room to move.
Yeah, I could agree with that 100%. I like Ulberg more so in a big cage. Here, if Nchukwi can cut it off, if he can clinch him a bit, much higher likelihood of success, especially big dudes like this. I mean, Nchukwi's not super tall. He's only 6 foot, but he's a thick human being, and Ulberg super long. I like Nchukwi. Mike likes the side of Ulberg. Let's go lines here. Let's see what we got. Nchukwi is -120 as a very slight favorite. Ulberg -110. Do you think we go over a round and a half here, Mike?
Yeah, I think so.
It's -170
out of there. I think Ulberg's the one who's gonna feel this thing out.
Over 1.5, -170. I'm actually feeling pretty damn good about. I like that more than the prop side of thing. And you're picking Ulberg to win by a decision, Mike?
I'll go with the decision. Yeah.
I could see that side. I see this fight going distance here. I like that over a round and a half at -170 is pretty damn good value. But it is time to jump towards the main card. Money Line is live, episode number 27, I believe. I'm here with my guy, Mike Finch. This is the main card. Guys, smash the likes if you're watching as well. And if you're new, subscribe. We're breaking it down. It's UFC Vegas 57, and this is the first fight on our main card here. Mike, I'll let you take the mic and give us the Finch breakdown for this first one. Let's hear it, brother.
Vieira's jiu-jitsu is nasty, although he's been submitted. His jiu-jitsu is insane when he gets to that top position. If Curtis ends up on bottom in this fight, that could be a death sentence. And he knows it, guys. Listen to Chris Curtis at the press conference. He was saying himself how aware he is of that, how he has to use his striking. He has to use his full mixed martial arts game, which he has much more of, guys. I think the biggest problem here is if Vieira gets on top, he's so much bigger. He's so much stronger. It's a huge problem. Everywhere else, I like Chris Curtis, man. I do think Curtis can get this thing done. I do like him winning this fight. It's a tough one to call, but I think he can get that TKO, my brother. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going with Curtis getting that knockout.
Oh, man. The Finch man with the opposite side of where I'm going, because I'm going to go Vieira win by submission. I think he's going to get that back and lock up a choke. But I do agree, if they're standing, Vieira gets touched up, Curtis has the power to hurt anybody. But I feel like
what do you think about his striking, AJ? Be honest.
Deadly. He's a deadly striker, man. Vieira's striking is improving for sure, but he wants to fight on the ground. I don't think traditional wrestling is going to get him the win here. I think using more jiu-jitsu, grab attempts to clinch up, and even put him against the cage and just drag to the back. Like, if he can jump that back, I think Vieira's in swell. I'm kind of seeing that back being jumped, though, and Curtis getting choked out.
Curtis is more of a fighter, AJ. You know, when Vieira talks about fighting, he says, he's admitted, very honest. He's admitted, he's like, I'm the most nervous guy in the UFC. I mean, he's just said that out loud, you know? So he's a jiu-jitsu guy doing MMA. And whenever I see that shit, I think there's a cap on it. You know, I do think that Curtis is going to be the guy throwing elbows, breaking those clinches, getting off. Absolutely true, AJ. If Vieira, you know, gets on that back, gets to the top position, this thing could be over and done with. Put a bow on it. I understand that. I will submit that to you. But I must say, looking at these two, who is the better mixed martial artist? Who is the better fighter? To me, Curtis is never going to be out of this fight. However, I do think Curtis can smack him a few times and get Vieira out of this fight. So I'm going to go with the better fighter. I'm going to go with the guy who I'd be more comfortable betting on. Absolutely, it's Curtis.
Let's go, brother. Let's go, brother. We have the different side, but I don't mind the side that you're on, man. Looking at the lines, Curtis is a slight favorite, minus 125. Vieira, minus 105. We got a pick'em's fight. Fight ends inside of the distance. You want to know the line for it? Minus 750. I don't think we're going super long here. I think it is going to end inside of the distance, and somebody's getting finished. Curtis by KO TKO, plus 105. It's not great value. Vieira by sub, plus 175. Not great value. Money line would be the way to go, regardless of the side here. I'm feeling the Vieira side. I'd love to see a wider line towards Vieira by sub, though. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, wow, that line you just read me for decision. Holy shit, man. That's
submission.
Oh, submission. I
yeah,
misheard.
Plus 170. Not great.
Got it. Got you. Yeah, listen, man, I love the fight. I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think we're gonna see blood. And yeah, you guys heard me. I think Curtis is gonna go for that TKO, man. I could imagine him smacking Vieira and getting that stoppage.
And I don't want to say Vieira, we've seen him break, but I guess he's gassed. He's been hurt. Chris Curtis right now in the UFC is looking nasty, bro.
Yeah, and Vieira has been in the jaws of victory. I mean, he's almost been there and then lost it. You know, it's been a little you'd expect somebody who's that high level at jiu-jitsu to not lose positions like I've seen Vieira lose them. In this fight, obviously, he's got the size difference too. So, there's more reason to think he'll be able to hold position. But, just going off of the history, guys, it's not Damian Maia. That's not the type of, blended into mixed martial arts game I'm seeing from Vieira. I don't think he's ready for Curtis, man. I think our man Curtis here is going to let his fucking hands go, man.
Let's go, brother. Let's go. Opposite sides, but I can meet in some middle ground and understand that argument 100%.
AJ, we got California says Curtis by submission, RNC. You must have
Holy
lost
shit.
your mind. What are you
Holy
smoking over
shit.
there, California? God
Cali.
damn.
That's some Cali Kush, brother. He's smoking that good, that good.
2.0 weed. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Tyson 2.0, brother. Let's go.
when I got to meet Mike, I was like, Tyson Ranch. He's like, I don't have the ranch no more. You know, he's Tyson 2.0 is what he told me. Okay, Tyson 2.0. So there it is. Go get your kush from Mike Tyson.
Let's
Did I just
go.
plug Mike Tyson's weed?
You
gotta
did.
pay for this shit.
Mike, hit him up. Hit it from Mike to Mike. Hit up the Mike himself. Let's go, bro. Let's keep going.
My cousin's name is Tyson after Mike Tyson. So
that's hilarious.
He owes us. We named one of our own. He's got to give me the sponsorship, Mike Tyson. Let's go.
Let's go, Mike Tyson. All right, next one, Nate Maness versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Like I was talking about with the odds maker, I said you see the OV at the end. That line's crazy. It's wide as hell. It's always wide as hell. Yes. OV. If it's OV, yeah. It's they say lock it in. You look at Nate Maness. He's not a bad fighter, man. He's good. He's game. He's a guy I got a lot of respect for, man. I would call him, a friend of the show. He follows my IG. He follows the fit. He'll like a post. I reach out to him anytime. He'll get back to me. So I'm rooting heavy on Nate Maness. Like that is my guy. And if he sees this, I really hope it's after he gets a big win. But I do think Umar Nurmagomedov is just a death matchup for the majority of guys that are unranked right now. I can't pick against Nurmagomedov. Yes, am I rooting Nate Maness? Absolutely. Would I bank money on Nate Maness? Absolutely. He's a huge big money dog, and he's a really good fighter. But Nurmagomedov, I have a feeling, gets a hold of him, controls him a bit, and looks towards a win by submission here. Unfortunately, I will say that. What do you think, Mike?
Did we even have to break down this fight? You guys know what the fuck it is, man. Umar Nurmagomedov is a problem. Holy shit, has he got some good takedowns. He's the most impressive guy under Islam right now for me, man, as far as the Team Dagestan is concerned. Look, he's gonna have trouble striking in this fight. I mean, let's give your guy Nate Maness a little bit of credit here. Nate Maness has got a thump. He could smack people, yes. Man. He's definitely dangerous, which is what you want to see. Somebody who can potentially hit that off switch on these monsters. But let's break down a specific technique. Okay, when Umar Nurmagomedov shot that double leg on Morozov. I mean, it's like one of my favorite takedowns ever to watch because he shoots this double leg and Morozov completely hits the takedown defense perfect. Morozov had the hips forward. He had the crossface going, completely stuffed, all right? Thanksgiving turkey. No takedown, no way. Somehow, Umar just keeps driving on the shot, gets his head on the outside, steps around the outside, runs the corner, and finishes the takedown. It's like, even if you stuff this guy's shot, he's still just going to take you down. You just cannot stop that takedown. And that impressed me so much. It looked like a Khabib thing. It looked like an Islam thing. And when I see that high level of wrestling, yes, it is above. There are still levels to Team Dagestan. I was impressed by Umar in that fight. I don't really see anybody in the division who can confidently say that they can stop all of those takedowns. And when Umar gets on top, he's been showing just more and more improvement, man. He's getting more control, getting to, submissions. How many rear naked chokes does he have in a row? Like 3? It's about to be 4. Umar Nurmagomedov via strangulation.
Umar by strangulation. Yeah, he's on that rear naked choke streak, bro. He's got 3 straight and 4 of the last 5 have all been rear nakeds. He's a neck catcher, bro. He catches those necks. And I think he could do it here to my guy Nate Maness. But I got love for Nate, I will say. Now looking towards the betting side, minus 910 for Nurmagomedov. Maness plus 560 though. So if you're looking for a big value dog, maybe throw a little sprinkle on Maness. That's my guy. I got love for him. Under 1.5 rounds. Mike, yes or no?
Woo! Look, Nate Maness is tough on the feet. That's about it. He's getting smushed on the ground. I think it's going to be under. Let me give a little shout out to Arise here. Club and sub. No. No club. I don't see the club. I see the sub, though, my friend.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, too, man. I think it's going to be submission win. And looking at under, It's not a bad line. Under 1.5 plus 130. The money line's unplayable. Nurmagomedov to win by submission.
That's it.
Plus 140. It's not bad. Plus 140 for, I think, a likely result.
Yeah, that's it.
That might be the heat.
Rear naked choke specifically. I wish I could bet on that.
There's certain sites that do allow you, man, specific fucking prop.
Nah, fuck that. You're going to my bookie. You're using the promo code Moneyline, and we're betting this sub prop. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
Nurmagomedov win submission. Both of us agree here. Let's keep running up. Thiago Moisés versus Christos Giagos. I think I surprised a lot of people with the Giagos pick. I actually think Giagos can win this fight on the scorecards, man. I think his wrestling is a quality factor. I don't want to say Moisés is overrated, but how impressed have you been with Thiago Moisés? Yes, he went 4 rounds with Islam. He got destroyed by Yoel Alvarez afterwards. You look prior to that, close decisions over Alexander Hernandez. And then before that, I got to get the official lines up. I'm seeing the face, but I'm not seeing the name. It was Bobby Green. Yeah, that fight with Bobby Green, I actually thought it went Bobby's way. He was losing to Michael Johnson, locks up an ankle lock. I feel like this is Giagos' opportunity for a win against maybe a guy who has been in some quality spots, has gotten big chances, but I don't see with that big ability. He's got really good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't really impress me a ton, and I don't see him as a super athlete. I think Giagos has some little bit of edges over him in certain aspects of the game. Do you feel like Giagos has a legit fighting chance? Do you think I'm underrating Moisés?
Absolutely. You know, Moisés is a good striker, not great. He's an okay wrestler, not great. His jiu-jitsu is very strong, but it's going to take a lot for him to implement that. You know, I like, you know, Giagos has, you know, a 5-4 record in the UFC, but look at the competition, man. I mean, he has fought, you know, a lot of the best in the division and in some good fights too. So, AJ, you're not crazy, man. I think I'm going to double up with you on this one. Although I will say, with some of the bets on this card, this is not one of the better ones, man. I'd rather sit on the fence and watch this fight than take money out of my pocket for this one, because you know, both of those guys have shown pathways to beat them. And you know, if it's Thiago, I think it's probably with the jiu-jitsu. It's probably on the ground, unless it's maybe a competitive striking match. And then you know, Giagos, I would lean more so decision, man. I could see him getting this on the scorecards, leading a little bit in the striking, doing well in the wrestling, making this thing, you know, a close fight and getting it through the judges. So I'm going to double up with you. Maybe other people think we're nuts. I don't know. But, you know, Thiago Moisés, he needs to be more dangerous on the feet. There's not enough danger there to keep these guys off of him. I do think he's going to lose more decisions coming up here. This will be one of them.
Yeah, I'm going Giagos win by decision. As far as the money line odds, plus 195 for Giagos, Moisés, minus 250. I'm saying we're probably going long. The over is just minus 125, but I don't think Giagos is a terrible dog attack. The side of Giagos by decision, I was curious what that line was looking like. It is sitting at plus 385. Giagos by decision is a wide line.
That is wide.
It's not a great bet, though. I mean, you know, when you play those close decisions.
Why not go with somebody you have confidence in? You guys heard how close that line was for Umar via submission, or there are other bets on this card. You guys will get our locks and parlays in a minute. But, you know, for me personally, guys, neither of these guys are the type of athletes I bet on.
Very fair point. Very fair point. If it's a dog attack, Giagos' way, I think, would be the right way. But if you're like looking for high confidence, but we're talking value. Giagos win. I'm calling it decision, as is Mike. Let's get to the featured bout of the night. A little bit of an odd featured bout of the night. It's Josh Parisian versus Alan Baldet. I was surprised to see more back-end heavyweights in this spot. I thought maybe you'd put even Curtis Vieira in this spot. Maybe have this is the featured prelim, and you have Ulberg, Nchukwi on the main card. They like showcasing them. Yeah, especially in the small cage, right? They throw the big boys out there. But these are two guys that I have a feeling are going the full 3. And it could turn into like a sloppier Ultimate Fighter style heavyweight matchup like you see on some of the seasons. Parisian was on the show. I feel like you might see Parisian wearing on Baldet against the cage. It's very concerning to me that I don't know if either guy has the power to sleep the other, but I'd have to say Baldet is the harder puncher of the two. I think Parisian has the better pressure, though. I'm I'm in a tricky predicament here, but I'm going to ride with my guy, Alan Boldet, to get the win. I'm going to say it's going to be 3 rounds of work, though. And he needs to fend off takedowns. I believe he will. I think he could be physically stronger than Parisian. And you know what? Got to respect Parisian as a harder guy to put away. I don't think he'll go down easy. Is Boldet ready for the 3? We've seen him get tired and gas before, which is a big concern. Both guys, I think, with a loss, could be seeing their walking papers. I'm going to pick Boldet for the win.
I disagree with the decision call entirely,
Okay.
AJ. These are 2 knockout artists. These guys put people away. Look up and down their streaks. These guys are both finishers, and they have huge holes in their game. For Parisian, he throws kicks with no setup. He'll just throw a kick out there. He'll throw another one. He'll throw a third one. So if you're fighting Parisian and I'm in your corner, I'm telling you, be patient. Stand there with your hands up. Put some pressure on this dude. As soon as he throws one of those unset up kicks and you see it coming, right hand, left hook, right hand, and we go home. I do not think that Parisian's defense is up to par to be striking with these better heavyweights. You know, when he's in the UFC here, he's going to be getting knocked out by these big boys. Now, Baudot, he also has some holes in his game as well. He could be finished. If Parisian gets on top of him, this thing could be over pretty quickly. Like you said, Parisian can make it ugly. I do think that, you know, Parisian could also find a finish on Baudot. So I'm saying under 2.5. Big ass heavyweights, little ass cage, 2 knockout artists. I don't know what you guys need to see. I think first round KO. Who gets it first? I'll go Baudot. I'm thinking that he's going to let his hands go, and that'll be the key here, is that Parisian's boxing is not looking beautiful to me, AJ. I do think that there's a clear highway to floor the engine down. What do they call that highway in Germany with no speed limit? The Autobahn. There's an Autobahn directly to that jaw. Baudot's going to go take it.
Yeah, I think, you know what? You might have a fair point. Small cage, some heavy hitter, big shots landing. Neither guy is super quick. Their heads are there to be cracked. Somebody might be going to bed. I'm thinking Boldet. What'd you say, bro?
The defense is low, AJ. I don't see the Canelo, the Floyd Mayweather. You know, their defense is 100 out of 100. I'm seeing a solid 14 out of 100 from these guys, man. They're hittable.
I like that 14 out of 100. As far as the lines, I mean, they're close. Parisian is -110, Boldet -120. You're looking at near pick'ems. Over a round and a half is -185. Mike's side, which is fight ends inside of the distance, is -150. Boldet by KO +180. I don't like. Maybe you're going. I have a feeling it's going over that round and a half, Mike. Might be a sicko, but I think that we're going a bit longer, and I think it might be a lot of cage work early by Parisian, man.
You know what? Everybody talks about the heavyweights hit so hard and they knock each other out. A lot of times when you get 2 dangerous strikers, they end up doing something funky. You know, you guys remember Frey and Cyril Gane? Like, oh, this is gonna be the greatest fight ever. They end up like wrestling. You know, that's that happens too. So I would not be betting my house, but I must say, you know, just go up and down their records, guys. These are 2 guys who win by finish, and they're fighting each other. And I already laid the rest out for you guys. I mean, I put that whole thing together, and I think a body's hitting the canvas.
Bodies hitting the canvas. The bodies hit the floor. Let's go.
I love that shit. That was everybody's walkout song back in like 2007, you know?
Dude, I've heard guys bring it back, but it doesn't hit the same. There's got to be some psycho savage that it works for, man. And the Apex walkouts don't do anything justice, man.
It was bodies hit the floor, drowning pool, and then breathe, spit. You know that song? Every walkout song for the XFO was just those 2 back and forth.
What about cut my what is it? Cut my I don't remember the words. Into pieces. This is my last resort. Yeah. I love that shit, bro. Yeah. That's great.
Bring it back, AJ.
Bring it back, bro. I'm mixing up the words here, man. I'm glad you saved me on that one, bro.
Somebody's at home pulling their fucking hair out like these assholes. Can you guys stick to the fights?
Let's get to the co-main event of the evening. Neil Magny versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. What are we talking about here? It's Shavkat. Come on. Is there a question? I'm going to say no. If there's any guy that I'm feeling that hype, I'm not going to put him on Hamzat tier, but high tier guy that I'm like, I see potential. I see that, not even just potential. I see what he's got right now. A lot of dudes. And I feel like we're going Rakhmonov. Could see the KO, could see the submission. I don't know. I was leaning KO earlier, but Magny's not easy to finish. I could see maybe a club and sub situation. I mean, I guess I've had good luck with club and sub, so maybe I got to call that.
Keep the club and sub train a rolling, AJ. Let's go. Is that the call?
I'm going club and sub. Let's do it.
Let's go. Look, Neil Magny's durable, AJ. You know, if anybody's going to take Rakhmonov 3 rounds, I think Neil Magny's in that short list. I think Neil Magny's pretty hard to get to. He's pretty good at slowing a fight down and, making it a place where he's not taking a lot of damage. Neil Magny's a veteran at this point, and Rakhmonov is not used to fighting veterans like this. So this will be a moment where we learn a lot about how Rakhmonov performs under somebody who really does know how to defend themselves when they're hurt, really has been through the grinder, has been through those tough fights where it's close. Neil Magny's been around the block and then some. I've done commentary with Neil Magny. I've been able to, watch his whole career, obviously, just like you guys have. So I have a lot of faith in the durability of Neil Magny. So with that being said, an absolute finisher in Rakhmonov. I mean, let's talk about the other side too. Rakhmonov puts people away. This dude's on fire. He's at the press conference talking about, I'm going to be the champion. These guys are just in my way. I think he's telling the truth. I think he really believes that shit. He's extremely skilled, and he'll be looking for the finish. I'll tell you what. I think Neil Magny weathers the storm, man. I think it's going to be a damn storm, and Rakhmonov is going to win, but I think we actually finally take Rakhmonov to the scorecards.
Interesting. The Mike Finch take is a decision. What's club and sub? It means you stun somebody, so you club them, and then you sub them. You choke them out, arm bar them up. Whatever's available. I'm thinking a neck is probably getting snatched, and I'm going Rakhmonov W. And I'm excited as hell to see it, man, especially because these guys are like near eye level. This is a good size matchup and a very good test for Rakhmonov early in his career for the UFC. He's a problem.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's the right fight for Rakhmonov right now. It's the right way to bring him up. The UFC does a good job when they see a prospect on the rise. They make sure that they get the right fights. You guys remember Conor McGregor coming up first. They gave him Dennis Seaver, right? First, you give him some of these, and then you work your way up to the Jose Aldo fights. So the same thing here. They're bringing Rakhmonov on right. It's the right fight at the right time. I just think that Neil Magny is going to show him another level of veteranship, another level of durability, another level of fight IQ, and it'll be interesting to see how Rakhmonov responds. If Rakhmonov wants to blow all his energy out, he might not get the finish, be gassed in the 3rd round. We've seen some great fighters put in that position. I think that he's going to get better from this Neil Magny fight. But as you said, AJ, I mean, we would be a little crazy if we were telling you Magny. I do think that Rakhmonov is the prospect, man. He's the truth. Keep your eyes on him.
Let's go. I am thinking the lines are very wide, but it's an OV, brother. It's an OV. Minus 445 Rakhmonov, Magny plus 345. You like the over side, so I'd assume you'd like over a round and a half at minus 155. Yep. I'm feeling the under 2.5, minus 145. I think that's a fair call. Maybe, though, money line Rakhmonov if you're going hard. Definitely a wide parlay piece type of thing. I like the submission, so I'm going to give you the line. Rakhmonov by sub, it's plus 380. Not amazing, but definitely not a bad line. Still good quality plus money. And I do think it's a casher, man. I'm going Rakhmonov submission, baby. Let's go.
Oh, shit. Hey, Neil Magny knows how to defend his neck, AJ. I'm putting it a lot on Magny, AJ. And the reason why is because Rakhmonov's a finisher. I mean, we agree with that shit. But Neil Magny, in the most respectful way, a decision machine, So you get a finisher in there with the decision machine. I'm going to think the decision machine weathers the storm. It'll get stormy. He'll get hit with some lightning and shit, But again, I think we're going all 3. Interested to see this fight. And guys, Rakhmonov's the truth. I'm impressed.
Let's go. Let's go. Mike, it is time for the main event of the evening. Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. Guys, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. This is the Money Line every Thursday before the fights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So constantly tune in. I'm going to let you talk about this one first. I think you know my lean here. I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
Yes.
And I'm curious to hear the Finchman lean. Let's hear it, brother.
Gamrot has done things like sit for leg locks on people, and sometimes Gamrot has made a couple mistakes. If he does that here, he's gonna get knocked out. Arman Tsarukyan is just a whole other level. I think a good example to watch, and people reference this fight, the Islam Makhachev fight. How can you get a better example of Tsarukyan dealing with a wrestler than the competitive fight he was able to make with Islam Makhachev? Khabib himself says that Islam's the better wrestler between Khabib and Islam. So Islam's out there, and I believe Islam got taken down in that fight. Islam could not hold Arman Tsarukyan down. So what, am I now supposed to believe that Gamrot's going to get out there and hold him down? I am impressed by Gamrot, guys. Don't get it twisted. I think Gamrot is a real prospect. I told you guys at the beginning of the show, I think he's going to be around for the next decade as well. Yeah. Gamrot's a great wrestler, great mixed martial artist. Who's better on the feet? Tsarukyan. Who's the better wrestler? Close, probably Tsarukyan. Who's better at jiu-jitsu? That's an interesting one because Gamrot, if you guys want to check it out, Gamrot actually competed against one of the greatest jiu-jitsu fighters in the world, Gary Tonin, in no-gi grappling. He was strangled pretty promptly, but I do like to see him with that type of experience. When you prepare for a Gary Tonin, when you're out there competing at the highest levels in no-gi grappling, that leads me to believe that Arman's going to have adversity on the ground with him. That's why I think Arman does his best work on the feet in this fight, getting up from bottom should he end up on bottom for some reason. I think he'll end up on top because he's using his hands well. He's too explosive, guys. He's too dangerous. I use that word danger, and that's just because Arman, you're not safe anywhere with him, man. You cannot be playing around with this guy. He could sleep you in any position. You guys ever see like the way Shane Carwin knocked out Frank Mir inside the clinch? Arman's one of those freaks where I do think he's going to get, KOs like that, and he's going to find his way to the top. I've been nothing but impressed by him. I cannot bet against him, my man. I'm going to go Tsarukyan. Now, it's interesting to try to figure out how this shit goes down. I think this will be a close fight until it's not, meaning the first round, the second round. I think it's going to take a while for Tsarukyan to start overwhelming Gamrot. I do think the difference is in the striking. I do think he gets the job done late. I'll go out on a limb and say 5th round he gets that TKO over Gamrot. I'm going Tsarukyan in a good, fun fight with two guys who, like I said, I think we're early in their UFC career still, meaning they're going to be around for a while. They're going to beat a lot of names that you guys like. Fun to see this matchup, man. Another example of great matchmaking, and this will be a fun one, dude. They're fucking good.
Nasty. Both these guys are nasty. Method of victory is blurry for me. I was leaning decision earlier on in the week, but it's not like I have supreme confidence there. I mean, I definitely could see Tsarukyan getting that finish. It's hard to write off Gamrot to say he's going to get stopped. Like, I mean, he's got one loss, and a lot of people felt it should have went his way. 20-1. He could have been 21-0. Tsarukyan 18-2. I mean, these guys are incredible. This is an incredible fight, and I'm going to go Tsarukyan by a decision, but I like your 5th round knockout pick, Mike. I do.
25 minutes. You're going to go in a cage with 25 minutes with Arman Tsarukyan. I don't want to be in your shoes.
I wouldn't either, brother. I wouldn't either. Now, as far as the lines, minus 290 for Tsarukyan, Gamrot plus 240. I feel like over 2.5 rounds at minus 170 is a really quality over-under play if you are looking for one. I have a good feeling they're going at least that long. I respect Gamrot's game. I feel like Tsarukyan prop betting it. Like Mike said, he likes that late KO. I'll give you KO TKO for Tsarukyan plus 255. Tsarukyan to win by a decision plus 170. I don't like either of those props, man. I like Tsarukyan, though, with a W confidently. I like the over. I wish the line was closer, but it can't be. It's Arman Tsarukyan. He's the guy. He's the guy.
He's the truth, as Memphis Tiger put it a little earlier. Exactly right. He's the truth. They're both kind of the truth, They're both damn. I mean, 20-1. Like, I respect that shit because that's not over bullshit competition either. Arman's another level, man. He deserves to be in that top 5. I don't think anybody really sees him there yet. That's where I see him.
Let's go. Let's go. Me and the Finch man on the same side. on a lot of the picks tonight. Some disagreement, but majority on the same spots. And I'm glad we finish out with some agreement at the top.
Absolutely, man. Hey, and a fun fight too, guys. I'm excited for this one, and hopefully my fucking lock of the night comes through this week. 2 times Cerrone and Lozon doesn't happen. My lock doesn't even get to hit the cage. Can I at least see the fight, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe I should stop giving locks out so they actually make it to the UFC cage.
Let's go. Let's find out if you jinx one this week, man, because we're about to jump into the lock of the night. Lock of the night time. Tsarukyan, Gamrot in the main. Good card overall. Mike, where do you feel like, well, actually, first and foremost,
yes,
where would you throw down if you were going to bet your lock of the night?
Woo! My lock of the night I have to go with that line, and I always go money line with you guys. But why wouldn't Nurmagomedov get the rear naked choke? Why wouldn't he? You know, so I have to go with it, man. I just think he's going to hunt it. He's got 3 in a row. Why wouldn't it be 4 in a row? It makes too much sense, guys. I do like a couple other fights in this card. I'll give it to you in the parlays, but my lock of the night, I'm going with a finish. I got Umar Nurmagomedov with a strangle.
Nurmagomedov submission plus 140 for the Mike Finch mystical lock of the night, because that was a mystic call, bro. I actually really respect the hell out of that. I'm in a shit spot because the real lock of the night that I want is going to be Arman Tsarukyan, but he's upwards of minus 300 here at my bookie. So betting side, it's not great. I'm going to throw the little etc. next to it because I got to tell you how I feel straight up. Value side, and this value isn't that much better, but it's definitely clearer path. I like Bautista over Kelleher at minus 170. I think he's a good quality pick. I do expect decision, right? For the fight going the distance here, Bautista by decision, value sitting at plus 180. I think Bautista is the lock. It's going to be the lock call, but it's also Tsarukyan, right? That's a fair call. Tsarukyan lock, you know what I'm saying, Mikey?
I know what you're saying, dog. Absolutely. We got to go with the way your money is being risked, right? The odds just matter so much when we're talking about this. So who are we most confident is going to come out of that cage, the victor? Nurmagomedov and Tsarukyan. But when you consider the odds, that's why we're throwing those other fights out there.
Let's go, brother. It's time for the $100 parlay.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Where are you putting that 100 Mystic Mac dollars, Mike? You got 100. Conor McGregor in the bottom here, looking stylish, bro. You about to be cashing checks. Let's hear it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and throw in TJ Brown into this mix. I think he gets it done. It's a little bit of a limb, but I'm going to walk out on it. I'm going to say TJ Brown. I'm going to double that up with Umar. And then if we want to get crazy, you could throw in Arman. But, guys, we had our house specialist, the man who makes the odds on this show. And what did he tell us? He said 2 fight parlays if you're going to parlay. Don't go 3. So if you're crazy like me and you want to go 3, Arman, Umar, TJ Brown. You want to drop one out of there, you drop the biggest, the biggest odds, hit that you'll take, which would be the Arman money line, which was my pick. So I'm going Umar with the sub, no club, just sub, TJ Brown money line.
Plus 103 for Arman Tsarukyan and TJ Brown. If you do have Nurmagomedov in it, only brings you to plus 122. So it definitely doesn't bring you that same momentum. Now, I feel as though the OVs are going to be pretty successful this week. I like Shavkat Rakhmonov. I like Umar Nurmagomedov. But you just play those two together, minus 300. That's a terrible line for a parlay. I think Arman Tsarukyan does get it done. And I also feel good about Mario Bautista. Just those 4, though, is only plus 189. So I understandably see people be like, well, I ain't playing that ugly line. What am I getting from that, right? So let's say you want to take out a Nurmagomedov, right? You leave Rakhmonov, you go Tsarukyan, you go Bautista, 3-fighter play, plus 165. I think that is a quality attack. I like TJ Brown as well. If you did want to add him in, it brings you to nearly plus 300, which I also think is a heavy hitter, which high likelihood of coming through. If we get any crazier than this, we're just playing with fire. So I'm not going to do so. But definitely some quality parlays to potentially play. Just be cautious with your money. Make sure if you are placing the bets, you go to my bookie. Use code Moneyline. You get 50% match bonus up to $1,000. So that means you get 50% a little extra cash on top of what you're depositing. So definitely do it for us. Give us that little Moneyline code. Support the channel. Much love to my bookie for sponsoring the show as well. And we have the odds maker on from there.
It's a big deal for us, guys. If you guys want to support us, help us in what we do, that's the biggest compliment you can give us. Use that promo code Moneyline. Yes, my bookie does notice when you guys go ahead and drop that Moneyline promo code in there. You get 50%, so you're going to get some money for your time and for switching over to my bookie, and it also helps us back. So that's just going to help us keep cranking out this content, getting badass guests for you guys, and we're just going to keep this ball rolling, ladies and gentlemen. I did see a comment up here I wanted to address. Jinh asked, Mike, do you parlay UFC with Bellator? I do not bet on Bellator because I work for Bellator. My Bellator ID is right over there. I cannot bet on Bellator fights. How dare you? Of course I cannot. I'm hanging out with these guys in the hotel, man. I was sitting with Higo while he was cutting weight. That's public info. I can give you that. Higo, the whole camp, right, is Sabatello's telling him, you're not going to make weight. If you don't make weight, we're going to fight in the parking lot. Not only did he make weight, he made weight the night before. The night before weigh-ins, he was like 1.5 pounds under the weight class that he had to make. The dude is in ridiculous shape. Super excited for that fight. Sabatello, Higo, Gegard Mousasi, Johnny Eblen. I love the fights. I can't bet on them. Yes, I do bet on UFC fights. But that's just because I want to have some fun, guys. I keep out of the Bellator stuff. AJ, why don't you pick that up? Do you bet on Bellator as well?
I do, man. And I don't think maybe it's not great, but it's not terrible. Maybe you cross parlay something up. If you're looking to add a little OV action, Magomedov's not a bad play. I also think Cassius Kane has a legit shot of beating Brennan Ward. I do.
Let
man.
me tell you something, brother. I have never heard a more deafening crowd than when Brendan Ward fights in Connecticut. Right. Holy shit. You thought Hamzat was getting piped up in Florida? My brother, this guy's got everybody out the woodwork here. He grew up out here in Connecticut. His story's pretty epic for you guys who don't know. Battled with, drug use and came out of the addiction and came back and got a knockout win in his last fight. I couldn't hear for the next day. That place was so loud. It was insane. People throwing beer. I mean, it was just nuts. So you guys just got to factor in the crowd noise because that absolutely, anybody who steps in the cage with Brennan Ward is like, did he bring an army? What the fuck is this? I mean, it is crazy when Brennan Ward fights in Connecticut. Just chop that up. I'm not saying it's not a great fight because it is, but just add that into the factors.
Let's go, brother. And with occasion, but not as much lately. The lines haven't been juicy and they haven't been really calling my name. I've been liking UFC and then Bellator as a little subset. Much love to Bellator Mike in the house. Mike, I hope you enjoyed being here, killing it, as we were long, bro. Nearly 2-hour show as well. Look at that. Look at this Bellator guy. Look at this sickness. That's a great logo. Also, guys, smash the like button for us. Show some love to the channel. Keep it locked in here at MMA Experts. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to. Me and Mike are live every Thursday doing these breakdowns. We'll have the best guests in the game coming on too. So let's go.
Let's go, guys. We want to see you here every Thursday. You've heard us beat it to death. So jump on my bookie, throw in that promo code Moneyline, and we will see you guys every Thursday. We're bringing the heat. I don't think we have one interview for you next Thursday. I don't think we have 2 interviews for you next Thursday. I heard we might even have 3 people on the show next Thursday. We're nuts. We'll see if that ends up happening. If that materializes, you guys are going to have some serious content because we're not making the show shorter. We're just going to be here all night hanging out with you guys. We so much appreciate when you tune in live. Thank you guys. Much love. And I will see you after these fist fights.
Much love. Mike, thank you for being here. As always, give him a follow. Mike Finch MMA or Mike Finch Show on YouTube. He's got some spotlight episodes dropping very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. And we will see you all next week. Peace, guys.